Welcome, welcome, welcome to another read Voices of Gehenna. On this installment, I'm going to be reading chapter 11 of Voices of Gehenna. First off, I just want to say thank you for all listening and supporting this project I've been working on. As you know of now, writing is a hobby of mine. I picked up the hobby back in late 2017, early 2018. And I took a few years off due to life circumstances and going through. But hey, I enjoy writing. I enjoy being creative, using my imagination. Imagination is one of the gifts, one of the best gifts that the Most High gave His creation. Besides the ultimate gift of salvation through His Son, Yeshua HaMashiach, our Holy Messiah. Gotta put Him out there, always put Him out there, because He's sitting on the right-hand side of the Father. Hallelujah. But yeah, imagination is one of those great gifts that the Most High gave to creation. Mankind, humankind. And we live in a society that's trying to take that away from us due to all the buffoonery they promote in media, negativity, the music and all that stuff. But storytelling has always been part of our ancestors' culture. Like in Africa, it's called a griot, which is a storyteller that tells stories in a village. But yeah, I enjoy putting these characters together and, building up this world and lore of certain beings in my universe, or whatever you want to call it. Because every writer has a universe, when they're writing a story, comic book, or whatever, they are creating their own universe. Whether they like it or not, they are creating their own universe or multiverse. DC and Marvel have multiverses. You got like Earth so-and-so and Earth this, Earth 1, Earth 5 and all that in DC. That's how it is in comics and stories. But yeah, this is going to be a great chapter. I had a lot of positive feedback on the last chapter, chapter 10. We're going to continue chapter 11. Well, continue with chapter 11, excuse me. But yeah, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and narrate this. The Voices of Gehenna, chapter 11. And y'all got to excuse me, because I've been working on something else too. I've been working on another little short story. I'm going to probably do that one too. And I'm going to touch base on that about after I'm finished reading this. But all right, let's get into it, family. Voices of Gehenna, chapter 11. Make sure this is cool. There we go. All right, family, let's get into it. Okay, let me make sure I'm at the beginning of chapter 11. All right. Voices of Gehenna, chapter 11. Let's get straight into it. I watched from the screens as Jeremiah Wisebeard and Dr. Spark rushed to the scene. The guards that followed them were dealing with the ghoul packs. The ghouls were no match for their weapons. The Hydra decided to move to the larger area of level 4. Jeremiah and Dr. Spark prepared themselves to engage the Hydra. The Hydra was the size of a full adult male elephant. All 5 of its heads were healed. The scales were black, red, and yellow. The Hydra's main head had horns and was located in the middle. "Damn, that bastard is huge," Jeremiah shouted while grabbing his staff. "This is a death trap for us. I didn't sign up to get swallowed by a Hydra," Dr. Spark yelled. 2 orc guards in mech suits started firing at the Hydra. They fired missiles at the giant serpent. The missiles damaged 2 of its heads. "That was a good shot. Give that ugly bastard everything you got," Jeremiah demanded. The man head of the Hydra struck a random guard. He grabbed the guard and swallowed him whole. The other guards unleashed a hailstorm of bullets on the Hydra. Die, motherfucker! A guard screamed while firing his rifle. Jeremiah decided to use geomancy. He created another stone wall to barricade themselves. Dr. Spark was using the medallion's power to fire energy blasts at the Hydra. His energy blasts were red and being fired from his hands. The Hydra was angry and started firing acid at the troops. The acid hit a few of them and they screamed in horror. The Hydra's third head fired poison gas at them. Dr. Spark defended himself by creating a force field around him. We're no match for him, Jeremiah. I'm a fucking scientist, not a warrior. Let's get out of here before we end up being Hydra food and shit. By Dunamog's mighty beard, I am not retreating from this battle. Dwarves stand their ground to the end. I'm no damn dwarf. And whoever your God is, I don't acknowledge or believe, Dr. Spark replied. Jeremiah chuckled and grasped his staff. Dunamog will never acknowledge a coward like you. Stop your whining and let's defeat this multi-headed abomination. Whatever, Rock Brain. If I die, I will haunt you forever, Dr. Spark taunted. We need reinforcements. Send in a pack of werewolves to assist us, a guard yelled on a radio. Send in some magic support. Send in some magic support to assist the arch-wizard, Jeremiah Wisebeard, another guard said. We will have to hold off the Hydra until reinforcements arrive, Jeremiah exclaimed. Well, let's hope their asses hurry up. 6 of the guards are dead and the rest are getting fucked up, Dr. Spark replied while shielding himself. I watched the battle as it got intense. The Hydra had used its strength to crush one of the mech suits. Jeremiah and Dr. Spark were hiding behind the stone brigade. Jeremiah was firing stone spikes from his wizard staff. The doctor started laughing like a maniac as he fired energy blasts from his hands. I wanted to go help them, but I was being watched by 2 Brogan Knight guards. I must think of something quick. Excuse me, I need to go to the restroom. Can you tell me where's the restroom for staff members? I asked nervous. The guard had a stern look on his face. Both of them stood at 8'5" tall and were armed with rifles and sidearms. Mr. Hill, you are to stay put. The warden has issued a lockdown on this prison. All staff members are to remain in their stations, he mentioned. I have a bad bladder and I don't want to piss on myself. Just tell me where's the restroom at, I ordered. The other guard had discerned that I was lying. His face was stern with a serious look. I was nervous and didn't want to piss them off. How about we escort you to the restroom? One of them asked. Screw this. I will find the restroom myself, I protested. I tried to leave the area. The Brogan Knight grabs me with ease, and I had no chance to break free. His grip was like a vice grip times 10. Let me go, you damn brute, I yelled. Mr. Hill, stay calm. We are only following the orders that was given to us, he said. Don't make this difficult for us, Mr. Hill, the other guard said while reaching for his taser. Hey, I'm no prisoner here. Tase me and I will sue you, bruh, I barked. The guards remained calm and wasn't moved by my replies. Your buddies are getting their asses slaughtered by that fucking Hydra. Y'all should be out there fighting and not babysitting me, damn it. One of the guards was about to restrain me and he couldn't move. One of the guards was about to restrain me and he couldn't move. Both of them started floating in the air. They were confused for a moment. All of a sudden, the Brogan Knight guards were dropped to the ground. I sensed they were being held by some kind of pressure. They couldn't move no matter how strong they were. They were released into the air again and dropped with more force. The impact knocked both of them out. Have no fear, Mr. Hill. Follow me, and I will lead you to the Hydra, a mysterious voice said. I turned to see the source of the voice. I spotted a child wearing a hooded cloak. His hands were torn and his feet were bare. I couldn't see his face due to him wearing a hood. The child was African American due to me seeing his feet. Who are you? And what is a child like you doing in a place like Gehenna? I asked. I am a friend, and my identity isn't important right now. Let's go help them slay the Hydra. By the way, you might want to arm yourself, Mr. Hill, the mysterious boy replied. I grabbed a rifle and a handgun from one of the guards. I also took a few of his grenades with me. The boy was floating in the air. I immediately suspect him of being an Afro-human. Judging by his height, he might be at least 8 or 9 years old. Wow, that child just took out 2 8-foot-tall Broganite guards. Come, Mr. Hill, follow my lead, the boy said while levitating in the air. I proceeded to follow the boy to the battle with the Hydra. We were surrounded by a group of guards. They aimed their guns at the boy. Subject 027, go back to your cell. Don't make us use lethal force, the lead guard yelled. The boy remained calm and wasn't afraid. You can't be serious. He's only a child, I yelled. Have no fear, Mr. Hill, and watch me. Have no fear, Mr. Hill, and watch me demonstrate my gift, Subject 027 replied with confidence. Subject 027 makes quick work of the guards by using gyrokinesis. Gyrokinesis is the ability to manipulate gravity. He made their guns feel heavy and they were forced to drop them. He then uses a force push to send them flying a few feet back. Let's continue our journey, Mr. Hill, he replied. Damn, bro, you just sent them flying like pieces of paper, I cheered. The reinforcements had arrived at the battle. Dr. Spock and Jeremiah were relieved. The reinforcements consisted of 10 mages and 8 werewolves. The werewolves were being led by Sergeant Greyhide. Sergeant Greyhide is a legendary werewolf warrior, a Lycan among Lycans, as they say. His clan, known as the Greyhide clan, is one of the few clans that are immune to silver. The mages were being led by Archmage Alabrus Featherstrength. Alabrus Featherstrength belongs to the non-human race known as the Icaran. The Icaran appears to be human, but they have bird rings with bird eyes. Finally, what took y'all so long? Dr. Spock asked. Take a seat, you weakling. Let the real warriors fight this time, Sergeant Greyhide ranted. Cut off his heads one by one, and I will use a fire spell to stop it from healing itself. Fire magic works against the Hydra's healing power, Alabrus Featherstrength added. All right, Birdman, my wolves will take the front line. Have your mages support us with their spells. I will have one of my clerics tend to the wounded, Sergeant Greyhide mentioned. All right, let's finish this, Jeremiah Wisebeard bellowed. Some of the werewolf warriors began to transform into their forms. They stood about 8 foot tall and were built muscular. Sergeant Greyhide didn't shift at all. They attacked the Hydra with their fangs and claws. The other guards were firing their guns at the Hydra. The mages were firing magic missiles and elemental blasts at the Hydra. One of the werewolves sliced off one of the Hydra's heads with his battle axe. The Hydra was getting assaulted from all angles. Yeah, give them hell, boys, Sergeant Greyhide bellowed. Are you going to join the fray? Jeremiah asked him. You bet your long-bearded ass I will, he replied with confidence. Sergeant Greyhide ripped off his vest and shirt. His body was in decent shape and full of scars. His back didn't have any scars at all. He wore an eye patch on his left eye. The sergeant stood at 6'11". His skin was dark and his hair was gray, along with the huge sideburns on his face. He let out a huge battle howl. Warriors of Uriel, join me and let's claim victory and honor for our clan. We are the noble servants to Archangel Uriel, he bellowed. Sergeant Greyhide's speed and strength was impressive. He jumped at the man head of the Hydra. He started slashing at the eyes of the creature. Two of the heads of the Hydra were destroyed by fire. Alabras fire spells were no joke. Dr. Spark decided to watch from the sidelines. Subject 027 and I passed the lab of level 4. I heard a noise coming from a dark room. I pointed the gun and was ready for what was in the room. 027 nodded at me to proceed. As we walked closer to the room, a trio of goblins jumped at us. I fired the pistol at them. I hit one of them and the other two fled. 027 pursued them and crushed them with gravity. Nice kill, Mr. Hill. I didn't take you for an invited man, 027 mentioned. I was breathing heavily and my adrenaline was off the chart. I acted on instinct. Truth be told, it has been a while since I fired a gun. My Uncle Willie taught me how to use firearms. My dad and I used to always practice at the firing range located on my uncle's ranch, I replied. Well, let that muscle memory kick in. You will need it because this breach is an opportunity for many creatures to break free, 027 replied. We continued to walk down the hallways of the level. We came across many dead ghouls and goblins. Some of them appeared to be decapitated. Some of them were filled with bullet holes. Some of them were filled with bullet wounds. I wonder who could have slayed so many creatures like this. 027 and I heard a battle going on. We heard gunfire and guards screaming in fear. From the sound of it, the guards were being annihilated by this mysterious monster. We decided to investigate and came across a huge room. It was filled with many dead guards. I vomit from seeing all the gore and viscera. Subject 027 wasn't afraid at all. He brushed it off like it was a normal day at Gehenna. We spotted the last guard standing, aiming his gun at a girl. She appeared as a child that was 8 years old. You're a child of the devil! Die, spawn of hell! The guard yelled in terror. The girl smiled innocently and waved at the guard. Her appearance was an African-American girl with red hair. The guard started firing his gun at her. Her speed was like a blur. I wondered if she was a vampire or another type of soup. I knew 023 would use this as an opportunity to kill, 027 said. Wait, you know her? I asked. Yeah, I know her, Mr. Hill. 023 is a deadly monster. Don't be fooled by her innocent appearance of an 8-year-old girl. It is rumored that 023 has killed over 500 people. 027 acknowledged. I watched in horror as 023 made quick work of the guard. After the carnage, the room was filled with the bodies of 20 dead guards. 023 stood in the center of the room and started laughing. That's enough killing, 023. Go back to your cell before the warden finds out, 027 ordered. Subject 023 form had changed from a girl to a woman in her early 20s. Boy, just because I can take on a form of a child doesn't give you the right to order me around. I am older than you, 027. I'm not going to lie. 023 was attractive in her adult form. I wouldn't want to deal with her crazy ass though. She approaches me in 027 with a smile of confidence. She was dressed in a black combat suit. She had a katana on her back along with some daggers on her pants. You must be Mr. Benjamin Hill. I heard about you, 023 said. Well, what did you hear about me? I asked nervously. That you are a naive little prick. You don't belong in a place like this. You should quit and choose another career, she replied while grinning with arrogance. I'm afraid I can't quit as of now. I must fulfill my contract, I replied to 023. Well, I must say you are fuck. I'll give you about another week and you will be killed or forced to be placed in a psych ward. Gehenna isn't a place for the mundane. You appear to be human, and yet 027 refers to you as a monster. What are you, 023? I asked her. She smirked and crosses her arms. I am a weapon that was perfected. I am the perfect weapon that is used in the art of killing. I am a survivor of a government experiment known as the Zero Soldier Project. The Zero Soldier Project used children as experiments. The government was trying to create super soldiers. I was the only survivor at the facility I was being held at. 027 was born for him. He was taken to another facility and had his abilities strengthened. Wow, so you and 027 are government experiment survivors? I replied. Yeah, our genetics were modified. Our abilities are unnatural and are considered to be a threat to the government, 027 added. This experiment has given me enhanced strength, speed, durability, longevity, and a high healing factor. I was also trained in many forms of martial arts. I was taught how to use weapons of all kinds, 023 stated. What drives you to kill, 023? I asked her. It's simple. Hatred is my drive to kill. I hate everything and most people on earth. I feel nothing when I kill a person. Call me a monster, demon, or psycho bitch. I don't care. Words are weak tools used by those who hide behind protection. In her adult form, 023 stood at 5'6" and was built slim and athletic. Her skin was dark and smooth. Her hair was red dreadlocks tied into a ponytail. Can you change into adult form 2027? I asked him. Nope, I'm my current age, which is 10, he replied. I quickly noticed the change in 023's eyes. They shift from normal to solid black. Her eyes were all black like a monster or alien. Her hands had sharp claws that were black. Don't tremble in the sight of my berserker mode. You are weak prey for me to kill, she boasted at me. Before I could have replied to her insult, a portal opened up. Captain Ronnie and Shawnice Dream Cotton stepped outside the portal. Ronnie had a stern look on his face, and Shawnice had a concerned look. Subject 023 and 027, I am ordering you to cease your rampage. Stand down and head back to your cells, or we will be forced to act, Ronnie demanded. 023 grits her teeth and smacked at him. Like hell I will. This is an opportunity for me to escape. Today I have killed over 25 of your brothers in arms, Captain Ronnie. There were good men and loyal soldiers to the IFIB. You will pay for your crimes, 023. Ronnie barked. 023 grinned and started scratching the wall with her claws. I am getting out of here, and if I have to add you to the list of my victims, then so be it. Shawnice steps in and frowns at 023. You ain't going nowhere. Binding spell number 3, ropes of restraint. Shawnice places a binding spell on 023. Pink magical ropes were restraining her. She couldn't break free no matter how hard she tried. You fairy bitch! I will kill you someday! 023 snapped while struggling to break free. Resist all you want, it's useless. The binding ropes are strong because its magic is coming from me. I am an archfey and not a common fairy, Shawnice replied with confidence. The spell was so strong it caused 023 to revert back to her child form. Shawnice walks up to 023 and places a sleeping spell on her. Ronnie looked towards 027. Your abilities are impressive, but you're no match for me or Shawnice. It would be wise for you to stand down, Ronnie advised. 027 stops levitating in the air. He lands and places his hands in the air. I surrender, Captain Ronnie. Don't worry. I have not killed any one of the guards. I only killed a few ghouls and goblins that escaped, he uttered. That's good, but it still doesn't change the fact you breached. Any inmate that breaches their cell is a signal of an escape attempt. 027, you are a danger to society and ought to remain here at Gehenna, Captain Ronnie acknowledged. I intervened. He's just a child. Get him some help by sending him to a facility to help him control his powers. This isn't a place for a child. Benny, you are the last person who should be saying anything. What you just did was stupid and reckless. You could have gotten killed. 023 would have cut you into ribbons if we didn't arrive on time. I'm sure Warden Jabril is going to have your head after all this is settled, Captain Ronnie said in a grave tone. I'm just glad that you're safe and not harmed, Benny. I agree with Captain Ronnie. Your actions were reckless and foolish. I will try my best to convince Warden Jabril not to fire you, Shawnice added. Wait, hold up. I only wanted to help, I protested. Benny, your job is to interview the inmates, not to be the hero. Trying to be a hero gets many naive people killed. Leave the defending of Gehenna to those who are trained for the mission, Shawnice replied. I was able to defend myself. I shot a goblin and made the other two flee until 027 crushed them with gravity, I admitted to Shawnice. Captain Ronnie's eyes have gotten big. You did what? I shot a goblin. That bastard and his goons tried to ambush me, so I had no choice but to rock his snot box, I replied. I'm impressed, but your choices were still dumb, Benny. The inmates here are the property of the IFIB. Warden Jabril is going to be pissed, Ronnie replied. Don't worry, Ronnie. It's just a stupid goblin. Most greenskins are considered to be vermin by most fae folk and other non-human races, Shawnice added. They came out of the lab area. I'm sure they were being experimented on. Shit, I did him a favor by taking him out, I admitted to them. Make sure to tell all the details to Warden Jabril. Be bold and courageous when discussing this matter with him. I know he could be intimidating at times, but Warden Jabril cares about the safety of all his employees, Shawnice mentioned. Thanks for the advice, Shawnice, I replied. She winks at me and smiles. Don't worry, Benny. Everything will work out in your favor. Believe in yourself, Benny. All right, Shawnice, let's get these two inmates back in their cells. I'm sure that the warden will want us to meet him in the conference room. This day has turned out to be a shitstorm, Ronnie ran it. All right, this is it. Geomancy style number 12. Grand stalagmite spike, Jeremiah bellowed. A huge stone spike had impaled the Hydra in the center. Its blood started gushing everywhere. Sergeant Greyhide was enjoying every moment of the battle. He broke both of the horns off of the man head of the Hydra. The Hydra had only one head left and was on the verge of being defeated. Now, boys, finish him off with fire! Sergeant Greyhide commanded. Two Broken Knight guards armed with flamethrowers aimed at the Hydra. These were flamethrowers that that spree out flames with the power of a hellfire missile. They successfully hit their target. The Hydra let out a death cry that could have been heard all over level 4. The surviving guards let out victory cheers. The werewolves let out a victorious howl. Thank you, Uriel, for lending me and my wolves your divine strength, Sergeant Greyhide bellowed. Phew, I'm glad this ordeal is over with, Dr. Spark said while standing in the corner. Yo, sorry ass wasn't much of a help, Doc, an Arc guard said to Dr. Spark. Duh, that's why we hire your brutes for. It's the job of the brawn to protect the brains, Dr. Spark taunted. They all stood and watched as the Hydra's corpse burned. Some of the guards were retching at the smell. A few minutes later, a few guards in mech suits came on the scene. They started putting the fire out. On the Hydra. Thanks for your assistance in strategy, Archmage Featherstrength, Jeremiah said with his hand extended. You're welcome, Archmage Wisebeard. You truly live up to your clan's name. It was an honor to fight alongside you, Alabros Featherstrength replied while shaking Jeremiah's hand. A voice was heard on the PA system. Gehenna is to remain on lockdown until further notice. All personnel is to remain in your workstation. All personnel is to remain in your workstations. I repeat, this is a major lockdown. Well, it seems like we're stuck here, I said to Ronnie and Shanice. You're not going anywhere, Mr. Hill. You have to get checked out by a doctor and most likely get a decontamination treatment, Ronnie said. Decontamination treatment? I asked while my anxiety crept in. Shanice smiles and places her hands on my shoulders. Relax, Benny. You will enjoy the treatment. It's painless and harmless. It will feel like you are taking a bath in heaven. Well, that's good to hear, I replied with a nervous chuckle. Ronnie picks up 023 and places her on his shoulder. All right, I am taking her back to her cell. 027, follow me and don't try anything. The young alpha human nodded. Yes, sir. Mr. Hill, follow me in this portal. The portal will take us to Dr. Stengel's office. It is proper protocol for you to get examined by a doctor, Shanice said while beckoning me to follow her. Seriously, I have to see him again? He gives me creepy vibes. Let another doctor examine me, I protest. Dr. Stengel is to be trusted. I know you don't trust him because he is a vampire. Give him a chance, Benny. Dr. Stengel is one of the best doctors and surgeons this facility has, Shanice mentioned. Well, if I must go to visit Dr. Stengel, then I want you to be there. Make sure he doesn't try anything funny, I asserted. All right, Benny, it's a deal, Shanice replied with a smile. We step into the portal to take us to Dr. Stengel's office. All right, family, that was chapter 11. Whew, what a tense chapter. What a tense chapter this was. Yes, indeed. It was action-packed, you know. It was the battle between the Hydra and Dr. Spark and Jeremiah Wisebeard. They had to call in reinforcements. You know, I introduced a few new characters. I introduced some test subjects, some experiments, you know. So far, we got 023 and 027. By the way, that's not their real names. That's their subject names. I'll probably reveal their names in future chapters. But yeah, 023, she's a killer. You know, 027, he's just a little boy with superpowers, you know, with gravity powers and stuff. You know, and we introduced the sergeant of the prison guard, Sergeant Greyhide, a werewolf warrior, you know. So we know he can probably gonna be a seasoned vet, you know. But yeah, this was an intense battle, you know. Benny, man, he did something outlandish. He shot a goblin. Let me know what y'all think about that. He shot a goblin. You know, how this going to impact Ben in the future, knowing that he killed somebody. Even though it was a goblin, he still killed a goblin. He's killed somebody, you know. Just think about it. Even though it was in the heat of the moment, it's gonna creep in on him. And I can't wait to write that, because you know, when you just do something like that, it was all in the moment. But when it settled in, will it haunt Bennett? How will he feel in the future about this? You know, will he lose his job at Gehenna? Will the warden be pissed off at him? We have to find out in the future chapter. You know, this was a good chapter. It was, you know, it was a tense chapter. And like I said, you know, I could have started on chapter 12, but I was working on another project, you know. So I'm gonna probably read that one, the first part of that. Like, it's gonna be called I ain't gonna tell you what it's called. I'm gonna just surprise you. I'm gonna surprise y'all with the title. It's just gonna be, all I'm gonna say is gonna be a military story. It's gonna be about the Shadow Marines, you know. It's gonna be about the Shadow Marines, you know. Now the Shadow Marines, they part of my universe too. I already brought up the Shadow Marines in Voices of Gehenna in the previous chapters. You know, like when Benny was talking with Captain Ronnie, you know, when he was discussing the ordeal between him and Bobby the Orc, and Captain Ronnie revealed to Benny that him and Bobby used to serve in the Shadow Marines, you know. But this Shadow Marine story is not gonna be about Bobby or Captain Ron. It's gonna be a whole different cast, a whole different set of characters. I'm just putting that out there. But it's so far, I'm liking it how it is, you know. I'm liking the build up so far. But yeah, don't worry, Voices of Gehenna will continue. Because you know, I know y'all been waiting for chapter 11. So I'm gonna go ahead and upload this. Voices of Gehenna chapter 11. But yeah, this was you know, they defeated the Hydra. Man, I mean, that Hydra was tearing up them guards. So we already know after all this is settled, a lot of guards probably lost their life, you know, because Subject 023, she killed about at least 20 or 25 of them things. Guards, you know. She was, you know, slaying some guards like nothing. You know, she's a savage. You know, whatever the government did to experiment, they created a monster with this weapon, you know, and it backfired on you. See, when you create these genetic altered weapons, it backfired on you, you know. But yeah, she was part of the experiment known as the Zero Soldier Project. Will we meet any more Zero soldiers in the future? We don't know. It all depends, you know, all depends. But all right, family, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up and get ready to upload it to my channel. I'm gonna premiere it tonight, so y'all be on the lookout.